I'm back. Well, after 2 weeks of games, the first round of the playoffs has come to an end. Let's get right to it. In a rematch from Week 13, playoff bound outscored Team DeAndre each week to escape with the 243-221 win in the Who Cares game. Now, over the 2 weeks, the Bound got big games from Rashad Jennings and Deshaun Jackson, but we can't go without mentioning the huge game from everybody's favorite Raven, Justin Tucker. 23 points for the kicker, including 61-yard field goal that beat the Detroit Lions this past Monday night, giving the Bears the sole possession of first place. Now, Team DeAndre did get 57 from Nick Foles over the 2 weeks. However, everyone else pretty much let him down. Okay, Sacco Boy. Well, this was interesting. The semifinals. Now, let's start with an individual getting serious once again. Probably because he didn't want to be Sacco Boy for the year, but we'll see how that turns out. Now, after the first week of scoring, Team Wilson did hold a considerable lead, 106-82. He was led by Flacco and Antonio Brown. Now, however, week 2 was a different story, as Team Wilson's guys apparently thought they were on a bye, as they put up a total of 57 points. That allowed Sirius to pull away despite playing a wide receiver with a concussion who got him 0, and a quarterback who has a serious choking problem and continues to throw fourth-quarter interceptions. Sirius was able to seal the win, though, 185-163, due in part by Rashad Mendenhall's 18 points late Sunday afternoon. Okay, semifinal number 2 had the league's 2 worst teams meeting up for the second time this year. We all remember that first meeting, don't we? 81-81, a juggernaut of a game. Well, this looked like it might end up that way, too. Now, after week 1, the Hesmans did hold a 21-point lead, 107-86, in part due with Drew Brees' 31 and Shane Vereen's 21. Team Frank had luck on his side, as in Andrew Luck that first week, as he had 35 saving face because 4 other players got him a total of 3 points. Now, week 2 showed a lot about these two teams and their seasons, as Team Frank entered Monday night down just 26 points and 4 players to play. But it wasn't meant to be, as those 4 players totaled 20 points, and the Has-Beens escaped a year of ridicule. But that's not the story for Team Frank or Team Wilson, as they now will meet in the Sacco Boy game. More on that later. Now, for the Shiva series, we had 2 games that were somewhat in control after week 1. The Misfits, who were victims of 2 bad late injuries, with AP getting hurt early in the first quarter and Reggie Bush deciding right before kickoff not to play, it cost them his 2 top running backs. And Matthew Stafford is suffering from my heads up my ass disease. Both weeks for him. Now, I'm not sure if it would have really made a difference these past 2 weeks, as Chicago's finest flexed some serious muscle. Let me just give you a couple quick stats. Jamal Charles had 79 points over 2 weeks. Manning had 55, which is kind of pedestrian for him, actually. And the kicker from Broncos, Prater, he had 26 points over 2 weeks. Pretty solid for a kicker. And Charles and Manning alone outscored the Misfits mash unit these past 2 weeks. It was a sad ending for the number 1 seed throughout most of the season. As we all know, injuries can quickly end a promising fantasy year. Now, semifinal number 2 was my personal favorite, as my privates imprinted a long-lasting memory on Team Ruxin. Again. Now, after week 1, my privates held a 43-point lead due to LaShawn McCoy's 39, Forte's 24, and Phillip Rivers' 22. In fact, if it wasn't for Bobby Rainey's 80-yard TD, which actually earned Ruxin a total of 17 points with the bonuses, he would have been down 60 points entering week 2. Well, week 2 was a little bit different, and it was more even, as Ruxin, led by the Seahawks D and Sack Stacy, did outscore the privates 111-108, but it wasn't enough to overcome my privates as we coast. And trust me, it didn't feel that way to me, as I was nervous to the end, to the 238-198 win, in part because A.J. Green and Calvin Johnson, again, were outplayed by Brandon Marshall and Dez Bryant. As I told you, Ruxin, all year, my running backs and my wide receivers were better than yours. Ruxin, you'll now face the Misfits in the 3rd place game, which leads us to what? The Shiva Bowl. Now, my privates are back to defend our crown versus the Finest, who have almost scored 300 points the last 2 weeks, and they won both of the regular season matchups between our two teams. Now we also have Manning and Jamal Charles battling Forte and LaShawn McCoy for our Fantasy Player of the Year as well in this matchup. It looks like an uphill battle for my boys versus the Privates. Maybe I should just hand Will over the Shiva right now. Here it is. Maybe I should just give it to him. Not. We did not come this far to lose to Peyton Manning a third time. The Shiva's at stake, men. Time for some late, oh my God, touchdowns from my boys. And no more kneel downs from you, Mr. Rivers. You cost me a point last time. The battle is on. It's old versus young, coach versus player. May the best team win. Good luck, Will. Okay, so to summarize, in the games coming up, we got in the 9th, 10th place game, which as we know it as the Sackle Boy game, we have Team Wilson versus Team Frank. In the 7-8 game, we have Team DeAndre playing the Has-Beens. In the 5th and 6th place game, we have Sirius playing Playoff Bound. Well, now it's just Bound. And in the 3rd, 4th game, we got the Misfits, who it looks like AP and Bush might be ready to go. Personally, I'm hoping Stafford's head stays up his ass, along with Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. They will take on Team Ruxin. And as we already discussed, in our Shiva Bowl, the champion will be crowned. It's Chicago's Finest taking on my Privates. Okay, all, our next and last show of the season, we'll have our Shiva winner. We'll also discuss our Sacco Boy, and I'll have my season awards. Good luck to all. Have a happy holidays. Later.